last lesson for this module. Thoughtful mathematicians solve mixed measurement word problems. So we're going to continue solving some word problems. So quick do now to spiral back to rounding. I want you to round these two numbers to the nearest 10 and then these two numbers to the nearest 100. So go ahead and pause the video, round the 4 numbers, and then press play to check your work. All right, welcome back. If you're watching now, that means you should have already rounded all 4 numbers. If you haven't already, please pause now so that you can round them. So I'm going to use place value for this first problem. So I underline the digit that I want to round, and then I look to the number to its right to tell me how to round. So 85, before I even round, I know 85 is between 80 and 90. Those are my two options, either round down to 80 or round up to 90. The 5 is 5 or more, so it rounds up to 90. So 85 rounds up to 90. For 172, I can go ahead and use a number line so that you can see both strategies. So 172 is in between 170 and 180, and my midway point would be 175. So 172 would go somewhere around here, below 175, but above 170. So because it's below my midway point and it's closer to 170, 172 rounds down to 170. So let's try these two. So I'll use place value again for this one. So now I'm running to the nearest 100, so it's changed. So I'm going to underline the digit in the hundreds place and look to the digit before it. So I know 4 or less, this digit is going to round down. So what are my options to round down? Well, 312 is between 300 and 400. So if I round down because of the 1, I would round down to 300, because 312 is above 300 but below 400. So it rounds down to 300. And then I use another vertical number line for 451. 451 is between 400 if I round down and 500 if I round up. And my halfway point for hundreds is always going to be 50. So 450. And then 451 is going to go super duper close to 450 because it's only one more above it. So because, even though it's just one digit, because it's above my halfway point, it is closer to 500 than it is to 400, so it rounds up to 500. Also, the 5 would make the 4 round up. Alright, I hope this was good practice and that we still remember how to round our numbers to the nearest 10 and 100. Go ahead and pause again. You're going to look at these next 2 slides. So pause now, read your vocabulary to refresh your memory. And pause again to read your subtraction vocabulary. Alright, so let's get started. I have this first problem that I'm going to model for you. Then we'll do one together, and then you'll do one on your own. Rogelio drinks water at every meal. At breakfast, he drinks 237 milliliters. At lunch, he drinks 300 milliliters. At dinner, he drinks 177 milliliters. How much more water does he drink at lunch than at dinner? So I remember from yesterday's lesson, when I hear things like how much more, how much less, I'm looking for the difference or like a comparison between those two numbers, and my subtraction definition tells me that I can subtract to compare two numbers or to find the difference between two numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract. So it says lunch and dinner, so I'm trying to subtract the difference between lunch, 300, and dinner, 177. So my greater number always goes on top, and I always write the digits by place value. I want to make sure the ones place, the tens place, and the hundreds place are lined up together. So I always like to write the second number starting with the ones place, so that way I don't mess anything up or put anything out of order. So I have 300 minus 177. So again, I always start in the ones place. 0 minus 7, I cannot do this because 0 is literally nothing, and I can't take away 7 from nothing. So I'm going to have to regroup. But I have another problem. If I regroup, I go here, I don't have anything here again to regroup from. So I'm going to have to go all the way to the hundreds place, take 100, and regroup it to the tens place. So 100 is 10 tens, so now I have 10 tens. And now I have enough to regroup to the ones place. So I'll regroup again. So now I only have 9 tens in the tens place, which gives me 10 ones, because 110 is 10 ones. So now I can subtract 10 minus 7 is 3, 9 minus 7 is 2, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So 123 more milliliters of water, but I'm going to check this using the inverse operation. So I'm going to add my answer with the number I subtracted to see if I get the number I started with. So 123 plus 177. 7 plus 3 is 10. Regroup the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 plus 7, we just said is 10 again. Regroup the 1 more time. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Sorry, this is the plus sign. So 300, that's what I started with. So my final answer is he drank 123 more milliliters of water. So let's try one together. If you don't have the materials you need to solve this with me, please pause now and grab those materials so that you're ready to solve with me. Okay, let's get started. There are 153 milliliters of juice in one carton. A 3-pack of juice boxes contains a total of 459 milliliters. How much juice is in a carton and a 3-pack of juice boxes? So what operation are we doing? Are we adding or subtracting if we want to know how much juice is in a carton and the 3-pack of juice boxes? Right, so you either said add or subtract, right? So let's see. We need a tape diagram to help you see if you're right or wrong. Well, I know that I want to know how much is in both together, right? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know the total, but I do know that one part is 459. That's my three pack of juice boxes, and I know that the carton is 153 milliliters. Capital L is the abbreviation for milliliters. So I know my two parts, and I want to find the total, both of them combined. So I would be adding. So if you said adding, you're absolutely correct. Congrats. If you said subtraction, does it make more sense now why we're adding and not subtracting? I hope so. So the reason we're adding really is because they want to know how much is in both of them combined. So we have to add to find that total. Subtracting would tell us how much more or how much greater one is more than the other. And that's not what they're trying to figure out. So again, make sure you write your two numbers lined up by place value, ones, tens, hundreds. Go ahead and copy this. You're going to copy the same equation and standard algorithm so we can solve together. All right, so let's start with the ones place and start adding. So let's go ahead and start with the ones place. We're adding, I apologize. So 9 plus 3 is 12. I'm going to regroup the 1. And then tens place, how many tens do we have altogether? 11, because 5 plus 1 is 6, and 6 plus 5 is 11. So I regroup this 1 again. And lastly here we have 4 plus 1 is 5, plus another 1 is 6, so 612. But we're going to double check this, right? We always check our work with the inverse operation. So 612 minus 153 should give us 459. So let's check that. Oops, 153. Let me edit that, 153. So 2 minus 3. I hope you said you can't do that because 2 is less than 3, so I'm going to regroup. So I have no 10s now because I'm regrouping a 10, and that gives me here 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. 0 minus 5. Again, I can't do it, so I'm going to regroup from the hundreds place. So I have 5 hundreds, and that gives me 10 tens now, because I gave a 100 to the tens place. 10 minus 5 is 5, and 5 minus 1 is 4. So 459, that's what we started with. Very good. We are in fact correct. So what's our final answer? What should I write? There are 612 milliliters of juice in both, I'm just going to say containers. 3-pack of juice boxes and the carton. Okay, so let's read and annotate this together, and then you're going to solve on your own. Mr. Williams owns a gas station. He sells 376 liters of gas in the morning, 300 liters of gas in the afternoon, and 219 liters of gas in the evening. How much more gas does he sell in the morning than in the evening? So think back to our first problem, and you can even rewind if you need a little hint as to what operation you're going to be using. So go ahead and pause the video now, press play when you're ready to check your work. Again, pause now, press play when you're ready to check your work. Alright, so this was a subtraction problem because I'm trying to find how much more, or compare the amounts of two different things, right? So how much more does he sell in the morning than in the evening? So in the morning he sells 367, in the evening he sells 219, so I have to subtract these two numbers, and I always put the greater number on top when I'm subtracting. For addition it doesn't matter, but I still like to put the greater number on top just so I get used to that idea of putting the greater number on top. So 7 minus 9 I cannot do, so I had to regroup. So I now have 5 tens and 17 ones. 17 minus 9 is 8. 5 minus 1 is 4. And 3 minus 2 is 1. So before I say my answer is 148 more liters, I want to double check this. So 148 plus the 219 should give me 367, but we'll see. 8 plus 9 is 17, regroup the 1. 4 plus 1 plus 1 is 6, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So that's what we started with, 367, so we're in fact correct. Very good. So let's write down our final answer. He sells 148 more liters of gas. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you have a better understanding of how to add and subtract and how to identify the operation you need to use while solving word problems. If you have any questions, you can always message me on Schoology or on Hangouts. Thank you so much for watching.